That's my last one. Might be might hit
one?
the ground. Now that one right there with the bullets in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Gotcha. All right, so we are live. Understand that there's a small lag on YouTube. So, welcome everybody. This is your boy Gelly Gale in Common Conversations with the fellas. If you're tuning in on Facebook and YouTube, y'all know the deal. We're just getting set up and getting ready. It's the 7 o'clock hour, the hour of power. Get your foot out your mouth, put your weed in your pocket, or maybe it's put your foot on the ground and put your weed in your mouth. I don't know, either way. If you're tuning in with us, we appreciate you. We love you. We'll be ready here in just a second. I'm just saying, whatever. What he said. All right. So we should be good. Y'all can share, scare, scream out, I don't have no underwear.
I don't have no underwear.
And
no, I'm rocking my underwear today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm like an old Arnold movie.
Dried up.
Commando.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Sometimes you gotta rock it out with your cock. I mean that out. Let's
actually no, that's true. I just thought it was trying to be funny.
Can I get that first song that we said we was gonna play with?
The blue one.
Yeah, the blue one. You know what I mean? And y'all get entertained for a minute. We're gonna have a funky fun show for y'all today.
We got. We need to go and stop tripping. Black on black love, that's all that's missing. This ain't no hate music. This ain't no anti-white. Matter of fact, we ain't worried about whites. In-house cleaning. Don't start there. Your ass if you ever dare try to treat her. We ain't singing songs.
We gotta figure out how to purpose that on them ongoing. So we need some other videos. We gotta create some other videos.
I need y'all to go and take 10 steps back. And they ain't hating on you, cause we need y'all too. When the fight get the poppin', thugs better come through. When we hit their pockets, throw a black party.
I just had a really, I just had a cool idea about like a logo, because I saw the picture you did for episode 3.
Yeah.
A cartoon of each of the four of us, you kind of like yelling in the microphone, or like with a the Black Panther type motif. I'm not sure about Trainier yet, but him with a chef's hat and the thing, and me with the book as the storyteller. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool.
That'd be
I like
fun.
that idea. That would be nice.
And probably just leave Trainier as Trainier, because he's Trainiering anyway. He's just being himself. So literally, don't change his picture at all. Just put a picture with just put his hat on like in the other one. Just make a cartoon version of that.
That'd be hot.
We're gonna give him a backwards ass hat though.
That'll work. And I think he'd appreciate the room. Just enough to say. Yeah, that'd be cool, man.
Welcome to Common Conversations. If you're tuning in with us on Facebook, we are also live on YouTube now. I just want to say welcome.
YouTube?
Get this bag off. You know what I mean? Y'all know how we do. This is the recording of our crazy. And if you have children in the room, we do. I do sometimes use explicit lyrics, and this is
sometimes
you might not want your kid in a room. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. We're giving a little pre-warning before we start the show. This is the making of the show.
It's only a few times an hour. We definitely earned the R rating.
We do earn the rating.
We earned the R rating. If we could get him down to a PG-13, that would be amazing.
Even changed up the jar today.
Well, we put bullets in the jar. I'm out of cash. I just came back from vacation, and so the change of environment, our new norm. If you out of money, take it.
It is.
Or just talk your way into it, which is what I'm going to have to do.
Right, true story. Look, let's get this.
Everybody's got skills, man. Those are mine.
I ain't mad at you.
Let's kill this bad boy. Let's do the intro so people can see it. So if you're starting a podcast out there, one of the reasons we're doing this is because if you don't know, Damon is going to have another series talking about the building of your podcast, right? And so we're going to talk about how to do the intros and the extras or the exits in and out. And so we thought we do this live, even though we edit it. So when we throw it up on the podcast, it's a little different. But Damon, would you like to do this thing? You might have to switch it over because I don't think it's on the same sequence. But again, I reserve the right to be wrong.
Let me check.
Go to
here it is.
Go to panel 1 because I think it's just the song, right? No, it is.
That's right.
That's on 2.
Right.
It's the red one. The red one. Do the red one. It's just the music.
Oh, you just want the music.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're live. We supposed to count me in.
Oh, let's try this again.
Here we go.
This is why we record it first and then edit later.
Absolutely.
In 3, 2, 1.
Yo, this your boy Gallagher with the Odd Fellas. And you are listening to Common Conversations. Yo, this is 4 fellas who came together to talk about whatever we want, how we want. No subject is off the table. And this is not how the intro normally sounds. But yo, we're going to keep it on script.
Right.
And we'll just throw it out there in the world, right? So it is explicit. We have a little fun. We talk about everything. You're more than welcome to throw some comments. We'll jump in there and play with you as well. Yo, this is Common Conversations, and welcome to the Odd Fellas. Let's go, fellas. What's been going on?
Nothing much. It's been a little bit of a challenging week this week.
Yay!
So we're gonna unpack it early. All right, let's go.
Okay, it's gonna be that. It's gonna be one of those weeks. Okay, cool.
Unpack it early. So, of course, Trainier's not here. He
To stop us.
Right. This is
Real
straight
talk.
rogue night. Daddy is gone.
Yes, sir.
Time to party. Yo, there it is. He
away.
is currently in was it Magic Mountain?
Atlanta.
I think I think he left for the wings and thigh meat, right? The wings.
Wings and thigh meat.
Yes,
Thigh meat.
yeah.
He went to go see some chickens.
There it is.
That's what bachelors do out here. So, you know,
Yeah.
shout out to Trainier. I know you're already in Atlanta, probably partying. Yeah, you know, just
And we all know Superman doesn't go nowhere without his cake.
yeah, just keep
Real
your
talk.
just keep your body condom on, brother. Just keep your body condom on.
Ooh,
Just saying.
just man, coat. He's on quarantine for 14 days. When he come back, he ain't gonna be for another 2 weeks.
Hell nah.
His nasty self. But
Nah, man. So, if you listening, I hope you are. You hear us wild. But there it is, man. So it's
Real
challenging week. What's the deal?
Just a lot of work challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing to me how many people are just really frustrated with the whole COVID-19. You know, some people don't really think that the pandemic is real, or we should be over it. It should be done with. But you know, we have rules and regulations that we still have to abide by to keep people safe. And I've just been fighting with people all week long now to just do my job,
You fighting with people to do your job to keep them safe.
to keep them safe.
You
the
know,
irony
well,
of that is,
know.
the irony of it is, if they listened to the rules in the first place, it would be over. They're the reason that the rules are still in place.
It's quite challenging, yes.
So what I'm gonna say is, for all the people out there in the world who want to make other people sick, we should dig a ditch and just throw you in it and let y'all breathe on each other and see who come out winning.
Real talk.
And then we don't have to have these stupid conversations anymore. COVID is real. We know it's real. It's kind of like the flu, right? It's real. We know it's real, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. And we gotta, our new norm is different, right? Gotta
Yeah.
wear a mask.
Ain't that the truth?
It's not a big deal. I've been thinking my ways, try to accessorize the whole thing. It's like it gives me a whole new thing to play with. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I'm gonna put my LeBray on, put a little hole through it. No, that would be counterproductive. Anybody who puts a hole in their mask.
Yes, it would.
Uh,
I was thinking about doing like the Demond does (6 thing
You should do that.
on one of those,
Actually,
something
right,
like
right in
that.
the middle of your mouth.
There you go.
or put a fold in it so every time you speak, it opens up. And
That's a
closes.
we should do that with lights. Put lights on your mask,
Bruh.
and then you talk. Yeah, that would be
That would be
super
hot.
dope.
That would be cool.
Yes, it would.
Yeah, hot glowing mouth.
Sounds like a bad movie.
It is, man.
That sounds like a new wing sauce.
Hey, let's go. So new wing sauce.
God!
And a bad movie. See, you throw those together.
Oh!
Atlanta and Trainier. I'm just saying. So we
And speaking of which,
cash shit about him while he's gone. Yo, check it out. So this is Common Conversation. If you're tuning in on Facebook, we love you. Thank you. And we are on YouTube now. So we're trying to expand our whereabouts and our
oh God, y'all gonna be so mad at me.
this motherfucker didn't hit record.
No, I
Oh,
That's
bruh.
shady. So the making of the podcast. Rule of thumb, please, ladies and gentlemen, don't make it part of your habit. Make the button go red. There it is. Now we're recording.
oh my goodness. It's gonna be one of them kind of days.
Well, we're warmed up
See,
now.
I miss a week and I come back.
We're warmed up now. We're warmed up.
There it
Yes.
is.
Yeah. So we're gonna make this
It's like
quick.
improv practice. We're warmed up now. It's all
All right,
good.
cool. I'm gonna throw an emotion out there.
And it's on YouTube, so we can get that audio off of there. So there you go.
We can. It's on Facebook, and we get the audio off of there. We can splice it together, throw a couple echoes on there, put us in a tunnel.
There
We
it
got a whole
is.
new game.
Now, what were you about to say?
I have no
Technology.
flipping idea.
Good.
So challenging week. you're tired of talking to crazy people about COVID at work because you deal with COVID crazy people all day.
Oh, that's crazy.
Well, take a vacation.
I'm working on it. Trust me,
All
my
right, cool.
anniversary's
Yeah.
coming up. And yeah, I'm gonna get out of here.
All right, cool.
Right on.
Take a dumb people. For all my people that are watching, sometimes you got to take a stupid people vacation. That doesn't mean you have to go anywhere. It just means that, like today, like I'm not wearing my glasses. And one of the things that my wife would say to me when she don't want to talk to me, she takes off her glasses and she then looks at me and says, "I can't hear you." Right. Chew on that shit for a minute, right?
Real talk.
Oh wow.
She takes, no glasses on, and I'm trying to talk to her, and she's like, "I can't hear you," as if. But apparently, so if you got to take a break from stupid people, take your glasses off.
Facts.
You can hear them, you just don't have to listen. That's all I'm saying. So,
Right.
but yeah, man, how's your week been going, Damon?
For the most part, it's been good. I had an episode of Damon Does drop today. This is probably I know I said this last week and I may say it again next week, but I've had a really good season so far. I interviewed Derek Ferguson, who created the title character Dylan, which is on, and if you're watching us, it's on, I guess you would be watching us right now because they're going to be doing listening to the podcast later. But anyway, I have a book of his. Well, actually, oddly enough, he didn't write any of the stories in here. A bunch of other writers did for the anthology. But anyway, his name is Derek Ferguson. Dylan is basically, if you combine James Bond, Doc Savage, the old pulp hero, and Shaft, and make him an adventure. It's action packed. It's awesome. Love it.
And he's carrying a sword.
I'm not sure why he's carrying a sword. I haven't read that short story yet, so I haven't got that far. But
You carry knives?
This is true.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
Never go anywhere without.
And he's a professional.
He's a professional swordsman.
Yeah.
Sure, that sounds good. But Derek has been. He was a great guest. And it was one of those things where they say never meet your heroes or anything like that, which I have, and that rings true sometimes, but he's one of the good ones, and it was cool. It was cool. So check out the podcast. He was a great interview. So
dope. So we're gonna check that out. Go to Damon Does on all your podcast pieces.
On all the Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser.
All slots. They're all out there. And there's a ticker at the bottom of the screen. So if you're watching, you can check it out. If not, y'all how to get there. Y'all, so it's been a dope week though. Real talk. So last week was super dope because we went on vacation, and the wife and I, as of Monday, are celebrating 18 years, long ass time marriage.
Congratulations.
So yeah, man. So that's super dope, and we're enjoying that and having fun. And so the whole week we're gonna be celebrating.
So what's the secret to 18 years? As someone who's coming up on 2.
So, okay, I'm not asking her if she cares. That is the secret to staying married. Don't ask the spouse if they care. Just do it. No, no, real talk. We were sitting out on the porch of the office today, and we were talking about 18 years, and she was, we were talking about how people don't make it this long, and yada yada, et cetera, and she said something like, 10 years ago, we don't know. And I said, nah, we don't. And so to answer your question, I said, yeah, because I don't know how to quit. And so I said, my greatest weakness is I don't know how to quit. And so we got a laugh out of that. And but honestly, I think it's being authentic, being real, being true to oneself, and then being true to the union. And you have to define the union. It was one day, maybe, T and I will tell the story. It's not a smooth paved road, marriage, but no relationship that you're going to build, that you're going to develop, is a smooth road. And so I think that getting to 18 years is intentional. You have to want it. You have to want to build something together. You have to want to be in that relationship. And so I'm sure there's a bunch of other shit we could throw out there in the wind, but this ain't that conversation. So let's go. But nonetheless, we went down to Gatlinburg up in the hills because, the fam was like, yo, dude ain't going out in the public right now. So, but that was super cool. We all got to hang out, got some new business opportunities that are coming along the pipeline. So that's hot during COVID because we know it's been a long, empty, pocketed ass year for a lot of small businesses. Well, a lot of business in general, but for a lot of local small businesses, it's been a challenge anyway. So, but as things are starting to turn, hopefully folks have made the right pivots and opportunities are going to be coming. And so,
Right.
give us an ability to kind of maybe rubber band back a little bit. But
like
other
a
than
plan.
that, yeah, man, that's it. That's all that's going on.
Cool.
It's a lot. So without Trainier, we still got everybody who watches or tunes into the podcast. Y'all know how we start this bad boy, right? We start out asking each other how we been, because realistically we only see each other once a week. But the thing is that Trainier tends to lead us with some flabbergasted ass question that we must answer.
And he always answers last. It's so unfair.
Right. He answers last, and he swears the bejesus
He doesn't think about
that
it.
he doesn't think about it first, right? So
I'm not Trainier.
You gotta relax.
you in the Trainier seat. Let's go.
All right, my question for you all is: are you afraid to break a thing in order to make it better?
Are you afraid to break a thing in order to make it better?
This is a 2-part question. And the second part of that is,
Hold on. Damon, you go first, because you made the strange face.
He did, didn't he?
What kind of thing are we referring to?
Anything.
Like
It depends on the thing. I mean, you want if it's wow. If it's well, so we're talking this will be fun to edit. This will be fun to edit. Okay, so am I breaking a thing to make it better? Yeah.
Are you afraid to break a thing in order to make it better?
Honestly, probably yes. Because if it ain't broke, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, kind of thing. However,
that's a weeble wobble, and we all fall out of.
I don't know, man. That's a real.
You get there.
Like,
All right,
I don't know.
I'm gonna go with.
Yeah, I mean, oh, God,
I'm just on the fence of how do you break something to make it better? Like the idea of breaking something means that it's broke, means that it might no longer be functional.
and breaking it also presupposes that you did it on purpose. That's the thing. That's probably the thing I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around.
So
Quite
maybe you
intentional.
intentionally broke something, but I don't know how it makes it better. Okay, so
I
let's hypothetically
I
say.
can give a simple example out of the medical field.
Thank you.
All right, so
Sometimes a person will break a bone and it won't heal right. So the doctor will re-break it so that it will heal properly.
well, you
thus
just said
making it better.
re-break. See,
It was broken, it healed, so he has to break it in order
he
to
has
make
to
it
re-break it. Right.
to make it better.
Okay, so when you break my leg to make it better,
Semantically, that's not the same thing.
No, it's
That's
not.
what's
It's
bothering me.
not.
It
No,
bothers me.
it's not.
What do you have an example? Do you have an example like with a
Okay.
relationship or anything else? Because that I knew you were going to give me that example. Like I understand that one.
Let's go with relationships.
Please.
all right, let's go.
Are there times where you'll need to break a relationship in order for it to be better?
How do you break a relationship?
You can break a relationship by changing the dynamics of it, changing the way in which you interact. That could be a form of breaking it. You can break a relationship by breaking the relationship off completely
Yeah.
in order to put both of you all in a better dynamic, a better situation. And here's my personal example with relationships. My first wife and I, we needed to get divorced. We were horrible husband and wives. We did not fare well. But after our divorce, we spent more time together after our divorce than we did the entire time we were married.
Well, that
And
means
our relationship was better after we broke our marriage and just stayed friends.
Okay. I now understand the question.
Let's go.
And I think in that case, the answer would be always yes, because with the relationship, because if it needs to change and if it needs to change, if the dynamics need to change, somebody already knows it. One of us already knows it, probably both of us, but at least one of us consciously knows that. And if it needs to change, the mature thing to do, which I can't say and I'm going to do all the time, would be to talk about what's going on and what that change is. So
So I'm just gonna go out here on a limb. Typically, the thing, like if you break my laptop, there's no making it better. That shit's broke. It ain't coming back.
Real talk.
If you break my car, you can't break my car and make it better. So I mean, philosophically, Aubrey put on here, you could break a bad habit and make it better. I don't know that you can break anything to make it better. Like even the scenario of a nose. Like if you break your nose, typically they have to re-break the nose to set it, right?
Right.
Re-break. So to break a relationship, I would have to go on a limb and say the relationship is already broken. And
Okay.
that's why you're parting, right? Your marriage was already broken. My theory, my opinion. It wasn't, you didn't break it. It was already broke. That was the reason it wasn't working. You typically don't break shit if it's working, unless you just got anger issues or just clumsy as hell. Like, I'm just saying, my wife tells me, she'll tell everybody, I'll tell everybody, I break shit daily. Like, it's not a day that doesn't go by where I don't accidentally break something. So that's why I buy everything in pairs. But because once it's broken, there's no fixing it. Now, I'm not saying you can't still use it, but you said this is a 2-part question. That's my answer.
Yeah, that's the first part. Jeez, I want Train Air back.
Wow.
Man, we would get the poet. We would put the poet in that chair. I want the football player back.
I mean, you guys, wow.
Right.
You basically answered the second part of the question was, does your answer depend on what the thing is?
Yes.
All right. So United States government, from the wisdom of my 16-year-old daughter, but so I can't even use that example because we were talking about how systematic racism exists in our country and in our spaces because government is broken, right? Police are broken, right? The system is broken. And of course, the wisdom of the daughter says, no, it's not. It's doing exactly what it's designed to do.
Right.
Therefore, it's not broken, right? It's working exactly the way. So now here's a reality. Maybe we have to break it in order to fix it. So, in theory, if we're talking about a system, it might be necessary to break the system in order to reset it into something else.
That you've talked to me about that in regards to business. Never being afraid to make the change. Being able to recognize and identify when you need to make that turn. When the process you're working.
But pivoting is not breaking.
If the process that you're using is not working.
Right, then it's broke.
Then the process
but you didn't break it. Like the process. So here's the thing. If COVID-19 broke a lot of businesses.
Most definitely.
Okay. The business was doing well. It was thriving. It was surviving, or it was doing whatever your intendant was doing, right? And all of a sudden, COVID-19, a pandemic hits you right in the jaw, and you no longer have any customers. You're bleeding out money, right? So in the sense, this pandemic broke your business, right? So you either are going to walk away from the business, right? Or you have the ability to pivot into something new opportunity, new space, whatever, even in your relationships to grow. But you didn't break it. Something else hindered it. Like, even if you're, I'm just saying you can't break it. I mean, you might break some shit to replace some shit. Like when I was a kid, once upon a time, I set a coat on fire because I didn't like it. And I knew I could get a new one. I'm just saying, right?
That guy.
So I broke it, right? So I could get something new to replace it, not to make it better. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just saying, we all come from different places, and this is about being authentic and telling authentic stories. I ain't gonna lie to you, and I ain't gonna make it up neither.
Wow.
As my wife said, you must have been a really special kid. I was just as special as I am an adult.
Oh my goodness.
Let's go.
All right.
So that was
my question.
Yeah.
Would you be afraid to break something in order to make it
Are you
better?
afraid to break shit to make it better?
No.
Let's trash it. So, okay, here's the thing. What is one thing right now that you would break? We're going to pass on this make it better shit so we could get something new. I want to, I don't want a new wife, so I don't break it. That's why we've been together for 18 years.
All right, real talk.
My morning routine.
All right.
I need to tighten that up.
So you need to change your habits. You need to break the old habits.
Yes.
As Audrey said, and make some new ones.
Yes.
All right, dope. What about you?
Pretty much same thing. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, you want to break your habits?
Yeah.
You want to break up with your habits?
Oh, most definitely.
All right. So you can create some new habits.
Yeah.
All right. Sure, a lot of people out there want to break some old habits so that they can create some new ones.
What kind of habits? I wonder what kind of habits our audience would like to break. Go ahead and let us know, because I like interaction. I don't know about you
okay,
guys.
Yeah, if you're out there listening to us, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube, go out there and throw and say, okay, if you got some bad habits and you want to break your bad habits and adopt some new ones, let's toss it out there. Like maybe if you're married and your wife only has sex with you once a week and you want it twice a week, that would be a bad habit. Y'all have a bad habit of having sex once a week.
That's a matter of perspective.
Well, man, it takes two. You got to ask permission. I'm just saying.
Wow. That hole just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Shit.
People are doing it once a week.
I mean, some people. I don't know. Some people do it.
I don't know what everybody does. I'm not even sure what I do. I don't mark it on the calendar or
Some
anything.
people ain't getting none. They who knows?
That's a broken marriage.
Well, it might not be a broken marriage, but it's definitely something broke up in that. Bitch.
That's a broken marriage.
It's a broken marriage.
Wow.
I said it. It needed to be said.
All right. So Desiree throws out there. She says, "I need to break up with worry." I can't help that one. I agree. You should break up with worry. You know how you break up with worry? For all my good Christians out there in the world.
Oh, this should be really good.
I'm just tell you real quick. It ain't up for debate. You want to break up with worry? Believe in God.
There it is.
Yeah, I'll let y'all let that breathe. Y'all breathe, y'all pray, y'all do whatever you need to do on that one. Because if you believe in God, like real talk, here's it. For my non-Christian people, believe in something bigger than yourself. Because at the end of the day, then you ain't got shit to worry about. Like I believe in me so much, I'm not worried. I believe in God so much, I'm not worried. Right? Don't get me wrong. I can have concerns. I can even be stressed out a little bit. I might even complain because the wife will tell you that shit happens. You know what I mean? but real talk, I'm not really worried about I'm not worried about what's coming, right? Because I know that I'm going to do the work. It's going to be there. I believe in God, and God said, one of the things that we're going to talk about, and we're already talking about, is resources, right? Mm-hmm. God believe in something greater than yourself. So if it ain't God, then, Allah, Buddha, still all gods, whatever. Even if you Greek, Roman, whatever, you still believe in a God. So let's go. If you Wiccan, you believe in a God, whatever you want to call it. So, okay, so here it is. Go ahead, you cut me off whenever you're ready.
Man, you seem perplexed over there.
Well, the reality,
I want to hear his explanation.
Oh, the explanation is just this, right? You, the individual you, the proverbial you, we have everything that is required to do what we want to do. We choose not to. So if you're worried, I'm picking on you, Mom, by the way, so everybody knows Desiree is my mother, and she's going to probably cuss me out later. But she doesn't cuss because she's a retired pastor, and there's a reason why I'm using this. So here's the deal, right?
She's on the other side of the screen, which helps.
Absolutely. Let's go, because we had this conversation in real life. But the reality of it is God, you have everything you need, right? You don't need anything else, right? If you right now, if you're hungry, I guarantee you have food in your kitchen. If you got a kitchen, might not be what you want to eat, but it's there, right? I want to start a business, right? Not me, because I already have one. But let's say out there in the world, I want to start a business. Okay, cool. You got your mind. You got a couple of ducats. You can start a business. The only thing stopping you is you, right? I want to start a podcast. Okay, cool. Well, we know by demand, all you need is a lavalier mic and a tape recorder and a cell phone. Let's go. And the truth be told, that is all you need to start a podcast.
Yeah.
Right. I want to be a better photographer. Well, go take pictures daily. I want to edit video and audio, right? Go start editing video and audio. You want a new job. Apply for a new job. Like, it's really the things in life, in terms of the things that we want, in my opinion, are really simple. We have all the resources. We really do. So if you want to stop worrying, stop. Wake up tomorrow. I know we're humans. It's hard. Real talk. But if you wake up tomorrow and have, what did she put on there? God has given us everything we need to do more than survive. Faith is truly the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things yet seen. True story. Let's go. So here's the thing. Wake up tomorrow and stop worrying. Live your life, right? Because here's the thing. If you die tomorrow, what you worried about today?
The Bible says take no thought for tomorrow.
Take no thought for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm saying it now. No, I'm just playing. Bible said it first.
Wow.
Oh, that's a whole nother conversation. I don't want to
Ain't
piss
it,
anybody
though?
off.
Got you.
So, what it do, Sharon in Memphis? Let's go. Love to have you.
That is my mom.
What's up, Mom?
Hey, Mom, how you doing?
I was like, Sharon in Memphis. Wait a minute. I know a Sharon in Memphis.
So, I mean, I don't know. So, what else out there in the world? Like, I know I'm trying to think about what I would like to break so that I could. You know what? I don't know if I want to break anything.
Wind.
I want to,
Wind.
I want to break wind.
Yes.
Man, I almost threw up earlier. I would have preferred to have broken wind. True story. Let the gas flow, not the acid.
Ugh.
But
I can't even say let that breathe on that one.
Hold that breath.
yeah,
It's like I can't breathe. Really, like oh,
right.
it's like oh.
I got some things I want to repair. I don't know if I have any things I want to break right now. And I think we're on a pathway. I love what COVID has done for us, or at least me personally. COVID made me take a back seat to life, at least the life I was living. Right.
Mhm.
Things weren't always working out the way that I wanted to. Things weren't aligning, and there were things that were happening behind the scenes that I wasn't seeing. And COVID made everything stand still. And so, in the midst of chaos, Mom taught me, and of course, a bunch of books, right? If in the midst of chaos, the people who stand still in the middle of it survive it. And so prior to COVID-19, I was already in the midst of some chaos, right? COVID-19 added more chaos, but it was out of my control. And so at that point, it forced me to stand still and then begin to look at things. And so that's the win, man. I think a lot of people that'll help people stop with worry. So if you're one of those folks out there in the world and you're like, oh my God, I'm worrying.
Mhm.
What's coming next? Stand still. You'll see it all.
It's interesting that you say that, because since we're talking about the Bible, I think one of the two verses that really, or two stories that capture this, is Moses at the Red Sea. He tells the people, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. And God gave them salvation. Later on, the Bible says, be still and know that I am God. Sometimes we do need to be still. We need to know how to be still. And it doesn't always necessarily mean a lack of activity, because even as you are being still in the midst of the chaos of COVID-19, you're still active. There's still things that you're doing. But learning that ability to stand still in the midst of the chaos and not be swept up by it, not be so distracted by it that you lose sight and focus. And I agree with you. If you want to stop worrying, trust God. This is your mother said.
Yeah, true story. And if you don't trust God, trust you. Shit, I ain't got nothing else for you on that one, bro.
I guess we'll let that one breathe as well.
We will, absolutely. We can
Most
get it, because not
definitely.
everybody believes in God, but this
True.
ain't that show. So it can be. So if your group of y'all want to
No,
go here and have
no,
that show,
no,
we can have
no.
that
This.
conversation.
Nope,
yeah, let's have a
nope, nope,
conversation.
nope,
So we gotta
nope,
be P-
nope,
on that
nope,
note, we
nope,
gotta
nope,
be PC.
nope, 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 nope.
So, all right, cool. But all right, on our journey to self-development, here we are, right? The platform is here, resources. I love the idea that, Mom asked a question about worry, right? How do we stop worrying? Because right now everybody is in this pandemic. Some people are taking hits to the jaw financially. Some people are taking the hits to the jaw literally. I was reading something the other day in terms of domestic violence and child abuse, and it already runs rampant in our community. But right now things are kind of running unchecked because of COVID-19 and the social distancing. So for all the people who are out there in the world struggling on a higher level, like in a deeper situation, I wish you peace and freedom soon. But there's resources out there for those folks as well. But we wanted to have this whole conversation about self-development, growth during COVID-19, and networking and resources. Yeah?
Yes,
All
yes.
right. So let's,
All right.
Not like Spectrum or CBS or ABC or ESPN or Food Network.
Okay. So so I figured we freelance this conversation a little bit.
Okay.
Because it was a conversation that y'all wanted to have. And I was like, no, but let's go.
We're convincing.
Yeah, there it is. Y'all pulled my leg, no gas intended.
Ew.
And
No
so,
gas, all ass.
there it is,
Wow.
right?
Yeah, I went there.
Beans, baby, beans. Remember, we put bullets in the jar for the day. If you want to help us buy more ammo, go ahead and hit that PayPal. Me F5ENT, and patronize us. And I'm just saying, let's go. So resources, right? Resources and networking. So where we want to drive this conversation, I mean, because it can go anywhere. Like we could talk about networking events, networking with people. We can talk about networking on social media. We can use specifically networking to grow a business. That's typically where I'm at. Or maybe it's just networking to build personal development resources and things like that. Where we want to go, y'all.
I want to ask Damon, what is your experience with networking and these sorts of things?
Well,
Dead air, dead air,
I know,
dead air,
right?
dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air.
I guess the bulk of my experience has been in the cooking, my cooking experience in my years there. Having those lines of communication, having those people that you can always reach out to if you're having a problem with a recipe, having a problem figuring out how to make something, the particularities of it. I've always had great resources in those arenas. My grandmother always been a great cooking resource for me.
Mm.
I remember when I was working in Cleveland at this was a competitor for Whole Foods, and my executive chef said she wanted to do a spin or more upscale spin on soul food. And the first person I called was my grandmother, because my grandmother was the first person to teach me how to cook. So my grandmother, we sat, we talked, and she gave me some great ideas, and I was able to take some of her that conversation and translate it into some really upscale soul food that sold very well in our store. Amazed at how we could create it for one thing, and it was worked very well. So for me and my cooking, my grandmother's always been a great resource.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. All right. Why the face? Why the face?
I don't know where we going. Let's go.
The reason I asked is because I've had different types of networking experiences, from the formal networking to like going to a networking event and passing out business cards, which always seemed like a waste of time. But I did meet two super cool people that I still talk to this day on a regular basis. So there is something to be said for that.
I mean, passing out business cards lightweight sucks, right? Unless you got a cool ass business card or you collect business cards,
which I do neither. So yeah, that's why I don't do that anymore. But and I've found that excuse me, networking it's a hit and miss. It's a hit and miss thing for me personally, because sometimes I'm not. If you don't go into a situation like that with a goal in mind, like. And it may be to pass out X amount of business cards or to meet a certain person in a certain industry, whatever your goal is. If I don't go in there with something in mind, then it'll feel like wasted. It'll feel like wasted time.
Yeah,
you know
true
what I
story.
mean?
True story.
So I don't know. That's my take on it.
I mean, the thing about networking is this, right? You do it every day. Most people just don't realize it. Like, so when you're in business, I think originally people used to think about networking as really marketing and sales. And, it's out there, you're trying to push something. You're trying to, force somebody to engage or buy something they may or may not want, yada, yada, yada. Right. But I mean, the thing about networking is just that, right? Meeting new people. So if we're talking business specifically, it's about building new relationships, right? Some people will say it's about finding new friends, and that might be your intent. Like if you're a networker out there in the world and you're like, man, I need new friends. I need new people to hang out with. That might be the purpose of your networking, right? So you're going to the bar, you're going to different events or trade shows or whatever it might be. Maybe not in COVID, because right now you might be using social media to do a lot of your networking, but it's about building new relationships and finding commonality amongst people or amongst different individuals. But you're right, you do have to have kind of a reason. And I think that's why I've always hated the whole idea, like go to the networking thing and hand out your business card. how many, yes, hand out business cards. If you are in business, definitely you should be handing out business cards as much as you possibly can. It is the fastest way to get your name out there, right? You can buy a couple thousand business cards for $25-$35 and you're off and running to the horses. But the reality of it is if you hand out a business card and you walk away from the individual that you're talking to, what did you do? You didn't really network. You just handed out a business card. You didn't get the person's name. You didn't share a story. You didn't engage you didn't engage, number one. So you didn't build a bond with that person. Number two, you just hand them a business card and say, go fish, as if they're going to look you up. Google. Well, now they'll probably Google you maybe if there was some interest, but what did you leave behind that gave them any interest? So network is an intentional thing, right? So I remember one time I was on a plane, years ago. And, I don't know where I was flying back from, but I was going somewhere. We're on a plane. And so I'm more of an introvert, who has an introvert style, right? Cause I've always been in sales, but realistically, I don't really like talking to people in that first engagement, right? So I'm not really the person that's going to walk in the door and break the ice, so to speak. However, sitting on the plane, me and this guy, we just start chopping it up. God knows I have no idea what we were talking about. I really don't. I just remember he did something really unique. I always thought he was in the wine and spirits business. Find out he was in the animal pet business. But the crazy story is we both part ways. And about, I don't know, a couple months later, my phone rings. And, hey, this is so-and-so. We met on a plane a couple months back. And I was like, oh, cool. He said, I remember you do XYZ, right? And at the time we were in promotional products as 100% of our business. And I said, yeah, we can, we basically make products, right? So we can put your logo, your name, your branding on different items that you're going to do giveaways or whatever. At the time they were developing a new product. So he was the plant manufacturer manager for a manufacturing firm, and they were building a new product. And long story short, he was like, hey, we'd like to work with you guys. I love what you said on the plane. Again, I still don't remember what we talked about. The point is that we apparently had a deep enough conversation that we both remembered each other enough, so much that he had a need. And apparently I spoke at that time about being able to fulfill certain things that he had the capacity to say, hey, Miguel, I'm interested in doing business with you. And that's really kind of what networking is. Like, there was no intent on that plane ride. Now, if you think about networking in that sense, how many people prior to COVID and maybe even now in COVID, do you actually have authentic and real conversations with? Do you sit next to someone or bump into someone at a grocery store and have any real engagement in terms of who they are? And do you actually share who you are? Or is it that we're so busy? And that's one thing COVID did for me too. It reminded me not to be so busy in my life. That A, I don't engage new people, and B, I continue to engage the people I know. Because right now, the reason my business is surviving COVID-19 is because of the people I know. Right. And a lot of businesses are like that, right? So again, understanding. So if we'll get into that, as we talk about potentially using resources and things like that. But yeah, networking has to be intentional. And I think there's some authenticity that has to happen in that process. The whole building of this show was all about what? Telling people who we are, what we really do, and how we do it. Right. And telling real stories. And in a sense, we are networking with a whole bunch of folks we haven't seen yet. We haven't met. We're telling them who we are, what we do. We tell them our fears. And at the end of the day, we look human. I'm not, but we look human.
Most of the time.
Fuck y'all for looking at me funny.
I take this off when I get home. It gets hot.
Real talk. Let that breathe.
Take off the muscles, right? Take off this belly. But
they modeled that Jason Momoa Super Bowl commercial off to me. That's what I do when I get home.
So yeah, go.
No, it's just as I'm listening to you, what keeps coming to my mind is authenticity.
Yes,
you in the plane ride, you were authentic enough in that moment, just shooting the breeze back and forth, that he remembered you 2 months later when that need arose. It was like snapped. He knew exactly who he wanted to call.
Yeah.
And he called you. And I think that sometimes, our avatars. We're so social media minded that maybe a bits of our authenticity gets lost in social media. It's lost in how we project or portray ourselves. Big like, I need so many like craze. I think sometimes that maybe we aren't as authentic as we need to be.
Oh, I mean, hell yeah. I know before COVID-19 and social media, people weren't as authentic as they needed to be. There was a whole bunch of lying motherfuckers running around.
Right.
You know, that's that whole fake it till you make it. No, motherfucker, tell the truth.
Right.
You know, you don't own that Bentley, you rented it.
You walked in front of it.
That's right. You just leaning on the side of it. Now look at me. I took that selfie. Let's go. No, but I think you know, in order to form, you asked earlier how do you make it to 18 years of marriage, right? Being authentic, understanding that we as people are not perfect, right? But being authentic in developing relationships, that's networking. You have how do you form a bond or a kinship with someone if you are in a sense living a lie? Right now, other parties, there's a pro and a con to that into being authentic, right? And we all know it, maybe we don't, but one of the cons to being authentic is negative feedback, right? People may not accept you for who you are, right? And sometimes that for people, that's why it's hard to be authentic, right? Because you know, I know something about me that you might not like. Now, I'm not telling you if you know do stupid shit to go out and tell the world that. But here's the thing. So authentically, I cuss often, right? Prior to this show, there was a whole bunch of people that didn't know I use swear words,
Which is hilarious to me.
Real talk.
right? But now, if you listen to this show, you know absolutely I have a foul mouth, right? And it is authentically who I am and who I have been since I was probably in first grade, right? Right, you and boy, I could cuss you out with I couldn't spell my name, but I could drop the F-bomb with the best of them.
He's that guy.
You know what I mean?
In the spirit of Trinity, you gotta relax.
Yeah, but it makes me who I am. You know what I mean? My daughter one day during breakfast, we went out and had breakfast because that sometimes is one of our things. And she was like, "Dad, you cuss a lot." And I said, "I know." And then she said, "Do you even know the origins of the words you use?"
I love that child.
I said, well, let's break it down at breakfast. And so we broke down the origin of every cuss word. You know what I mean? And so some of them I absolutely knew because I'm not going to use, I'll use a word. I don't know where it came from. I'll even make up a word if I didn't, that doesn't matter. Then I can say I made it up. But yeah, so the reality of it is we broke it down, but that's being authentic.
Definitely.
Right. And so, you know, the cons, yes, you're going to get some negative feedback. Some people may have some choice words. You might develop a hater or two out there in the world. But ain't nobody got time for that. Right. You got a life to live. Let that shit breathe and move on. You know, networking takes time. It really does. Like people sometimes don't want to do networking. They're like, I don't know how. And I take for granted that. That's a neat one. In the professional world, sometimes when we have employees or teams or we assume people know how to do a thing. And when you've not done it, you kind of assume it's something that it may not be.
True.
And so it's you know, so networking, if I wanted to do a really quick, cool, funky comparison to sales, if you tell somebody, ooh, you know, I need you to get in a sales job, most people take a negative connotation of sales. I'm like, oh my God, I can't do it. I've never done it. I don't know how to talk to people. No, they get into this piece. And I kind of look at them sometimes like, Jesus, it ain't that bad. Like, really, it's just having a conversation with someone, you know, because the reality of it is great salespeople don't sell products, they sell themselves. And so that's networking. Right. Networking is really presenting yourself, sharing yourself with like Damon said, with intent. Right. And so maybe the intent is to maybe move a product or to be able to show a product, or maybe that intent is to build a resource, some human capital that you might have the opportunity to spend that equity down the road. Maybe that intent is to have a relationship or to further your relationships, or maybe there's this Damon, I think off camera or Tuesday we were talking and you said something about finding mentors, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes networking is about personal and self-development, right? And so there might be someone out there in the world that you've met or you've run into or you read a book about or whatever, and you're saying, man, I would love to learn more about that person, right? That's networking. All you got to do is reach out to them, and it's not that hard. networking is just that, pick up the phone and call somebody, accept the fact that you're not always going to get a yes. And not everyone is going to be receptive in the beginning. However, if you're consistent, and you push the envelope, then, folks you'll find that over time, relationships are forged. Even in social media, people use social media and they're out here yammering. Trust me, I'm one of them that's yammering on 18 different whatnots. And sometimes I want an immediate return. But the reality of it is that some people they like your stuff, but they're not following you. And there's a difference, right? There are people who are liking, there are people who are following, but then there are people who are actually engaging, right? And so even that takes time. So, what are your goals in that relationship? Likes, follows, engagement. Like, follow, engagement, sales. Like, follow, engagement, sales. What's next? You know what I mean? Starting a podcast, it takes time to develop those relationships, but it's all about networking and understanding also how to use those resources as you're developing them. But yeah, man.
As we talked earlier in my question that you guys seem to not really care for, we talked about the system and
Breaking shit.
It's not broken, doing what it's designed to do. As we bring in networking in the social climate of where we are today, how does networking, is it the same? Does it operate the same?
I don't see why it doesn't. I mean, somebody out there might say no, it doesn't. I think networking still works the same. There's still people that, the question is, are you intentionally networking? Right. So, hypothetically, let's say you're displaced, right? During this time, you're laid off, maybe your company's closed, whatever's happening. The fastest way back to work is looking at what resources you have in terms of the people that and intentionally calling them and saying, hey, I lost my job and I'm looking for another job. Where's the opportunities at? Now, this doesn't mean that you actually have to take what people offer, because it may not fit you, but making the headway, right? So absolutely, I don't think it changes. I think in many cases, it's going to behoove us as people to network more, and get to know our neighbor more, and really look at what our true resources are, because if things are to get worse, we're gonna have to rely on each other a great deal more. If you're in business right now, one of the keys to this, and I can fess up because I haven't done it well, not to the extent that I know how. But this is the time where you're probably being not probably, you should be being proactive in reaching out to all your customers, not to sell them something, but just simply to say, hey, hi, how are you? Are you, how is business? Right? Are you surviving this thing? Is there something I can help you with? Even, and the reality of it is, you never know until you ask, and building these relationships. So no, I don't think it's different. I think the same thing on Facebook. I do think that we get clouded sometimes, definitely in social media, where we're just constantly pushing, and constantly asking. But I mean, that's no different. But I think in social media, there's no harm in following and DMing somebody. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not saying DMing them for the nasty stuff. I'm just saying DMing them in a message and saying, yo, how you doing?
Gotcha.
Watch a good movie lately. You know what I mean? Real talk. And then with protests, right? We got a lot of we got civil unrest going on across the country. Let's arrest the cops who killed Breonna Taylor.
Real talk.
How often are we reaching out to our friends who are out here protesting? Right? Because there's a lot of trauma that's being created in that process. And whether it, we can have the debate, whether it's self-inflicted or whatever that bullshit is that people want to breathe. But, are we reaching out to our friends and our family who are struggling in that relationship, right? Because there are a lot of race issues that have happened. I was on earlier on this year, we were on a conference call, and there was a black lady who's married she's in an interracial relationship married to a white man. And, she privately shared the fact that their marriage is struggling because of today's racial issues. And that's real, right? And I hope that her friends create safe spaces, both for the two of them to speak, and learn some things about themselves. But again, that's networking. To answer your question, no, I don't think it changes. I think we have to do more of it. Shout out to Bobby Joe because he gave his fish. We've been neighbors for 16 years, and I know I'm a weird neighbor. Real talk, because I just be like, yo, deuces, and go in the house. But my man has seriously been reaching out all year. Like that's super dope, right? And it feels good to me. I'm still a strange neighbor, but the fish was dope. But let's go.
When you said is it different because of COVID-19? The first thing that popped in my head was the tools are different, but networking is the same, which is basically what he said.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes.
I felt left out. I just wanted to add something.
No, just cut me off. Be like, shut up. But nah. So I mean, if you're out there networking, it's COVID-19. This is common conversations. If you're networking, build it, man. Just be intentional about what we're doing in this life. I mean, we the last two shows, we talked about, or the last show we talked about behavior change, right? This just tags into it, right? So if we're trying to do something new, if your business is trying to change, you're trying to create new habits. If outreaching to new people, if outreaching to your existing people or folks and friends is not part of that good habit, maybe this is one of those habits you change, right? You talk about breaking. Let's break the bad habit so that we can make room for new ones. If worrying is part of your habitual nature, well, then let's start working on that on a daily basis until we can eradicate worrying, right? And so the thing is let's start being proactive and working on the things that make you worry. And that might be the real goal there. In the show prior to that, we talked about having goals and reaching those objectives. You start mashing these three shows together, or these three new tools during COVID-19, and I think people will be fine. They'll find themselves doing some amazing things become the end of the year, right?
And this is the perfect time to start implementing these things with a lot of people being home and stuff. So I think this is coming at a perfect time. So
absolutely. I mean, you ain't got shit else to do.
Right.
I mean, really, how much you can watch a lot of Netflix. Trust me. My daughter watches a shitload of Netflix. But real talk. I was talking to my wife, and then this is a scary thing, but I said something. I said, hey, maybe I got a good 10 more, 20 years in me. Are we going to live it? Or are we going to sit around, concerned about things that we can't control, right? I can't control a pandemic. I can't control COVID-19, but I can wake up every day and live my best life, right? I can live every day and go after the things that I want to achieve, and we can live our best life together, right? There are people out here who are covered in debt, and if it's your goal to get rid of the debt, then every day work toward getting rid of it. Yes, it's a struggle. It's always going to be, well, it doesn't always have to be a struggle, okay. But maybe it is a struggle. But if you work on it, if you wake up and work on it and face it every day, but at some point in time, it's going to be gone, right? Because you're working on getting rid of it. So, man, live his life. Fuck what you heard. Real talk.
Yeah.
So there it is. Look, check it out. We get on this bad boy. We said we was going to make it a quick show, and it's all about. So these guys want. I mean, I guess in terms of networking resources, I seem like I talk. I don't know if we actually had a conversation.
No, we actually did have a conversation. I mean, you
I nodded. I do remember nodding. That helps.
Okay, that's the
when someone is listening, and when actually a conversation is someone is talking and the other person is actively listening, that is a conversation. So I am receiving what you're saying. It just requires me receiving. So I can't speak for Damon because he's over there. So, there we go. We've had a conversation.
We definitely had a conversation.
Receipts.
Active listening. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, all right, cool. Well, on that note, look, check it out. Let's wrap this bad boy up.
Okay. This is a quick show.
Yeah, we're gonna do a quick show.
We miss you, Trainer.
Keep it easy breezy. We're doing well. I mean, just as we wrap up, because we're gonna do 4 or 5 more shows like this, right? So this has been a little different than the first 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that we have to introduce people who have been listening. Is that we're going less heat and warlike, and more educational and development like.
And there's
think it's going to be a blending of the two. I don't think it's going to be one either or. I think it's going to be both and.
And there's a place for it. I think there's two strong energies pulling on this thing, and they both. And I think that it'll kind of even itself out. And because those things are happening. But if we, we're talking about being warlike and tearing stuff down, but we also have to have a plan to build, or we just leave rubble there. Then what we have.
As my wife would say, no Pyrrhic victories in this house.
There you go.
All right,
there it is.
So for the next 3 or 4 more shows, we're going to talk about development and how we build shit.
Did you guys have any? I thought we were going to talk about Kamala. I hope I say this right. Kamala Harris? No.
Kamala
Harris.
Kamala. Yeah.
And
Kamala was the wrestler. Sorry.
And Biden.
Who died, by the way?
The Biden Harris. The match of all matches. Yes.
That's going to be interesting.
All right, let's unpack this for about 20 minutes. Let's go. Hold on, we're gonna start the conversation over. Matter of fact, everybody, y'all tuning in, y'all know how we do this. This is about us building the podcast. And sometimes when it's your tools and your equipment, you can do what the hell you want. So we're gonna start a new show. This is totally impromptu because what do? We have conversations, and nothing is off the table. And so my man decided he wanted to throw something on the table. So let's cue up our intro and let's start the intro over again. Just remember to count me in, and we're gonna do Kamala Harris and the Biden Trump Kiss My Ass show.
In 3, 2, 1.
Yo, this your boy Gallagher with the Oddfellas, and this is Common Conversations, and I am doing my voiceover over top of somebody else's song. So let's get down and let's go. Black on black love, this all let's miss. This ain't no hate music, this ain't no anti-white. Matter of fact, we ain't worried about whites. Getting house clean. Yo, that's what it is. Y'all know y'all like that song. That's my man down there from Texas. I'm gonna have to hit y'all up and share that music. So, all right, here it is. This is Common Conversation. This is with the Oddfellas. I got Damon on my left, Damon on my right, and we're about to talk about the Biden Harris and the other 2 jokers. And I'm not calling them jokers because they're Republicans. I'm calling them jokers because, like Voldemort, we won't say their names. Yo, but you just brought to the table and said,
crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, you brought this one.
I'm like, let's the dog out. Shit, take the dog off from the muzzle. Let's fight.
Boy.
So I've been having conversations with friends for grip about Harris and Biden. And I had to be honest about some things. I'm an Abrams fan, and I was really hoping. I was fighting. I even put something on Facebook that if he don't pick Abrams, I'm not voting. That was a lie because I was voting regardless. But that was just me throwing, my childish tantrum. But it was a real statement because I'm an Abrams fan. But yo, check it out. He picked Harris. We kind of knew it was gonna happen. Not to say that she's not the best person for the job, because she is. Not to say he picked her because she's black, but she is, and she's Indian. What is that? West Indian, right?
I believe so.
She's East Indian. She's East Indian, Asia.
Yeah, Asia.
Yes.
So she's
East Indian.
Otherwise, she'd be like double black if she was West Indian. But so she's East Indian and black. She's a top cop. Let's and that offended me in the beginning because she's not a cop, right? She's a prosecuting attorney, and she's a state senator and a few other things. So that kind of threw me. But let's talk about unpacking. How do y'all feel about Biden picking Harris? Let's go.
Oh, my ball means, sir. Since you
Nope.
brought this up.
Nope.
How you gonna bring it to the table and be like, nope?
Well,
Real talk.
Facts.
You about to make me drop the N-bomb.
go ahead.
Nigga.
Pick it back up. Here you go.
Still.
All right,
I have not done. I'll be honest. I have not done enough research to give an informed opinion on air. So that's the God's honest truth of it. I did read. We talked last night about a letter that one of her opponents. Was she a defense attorney?
She was a defense attorney.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
I do remember reading that letter, and I thought that was interesting. But also because I'm a little paranoid, thought, what's in it for her, the lady who wrote it? So I'm skeptical of all of them. They can all burn for all I care because they're all terrible people.
Wow.
So whatever.
Let's go, terrible people.
Brr.
All right, he said, I don't like none of them. They terrible people.
I don't like the system. The system requires people to be terrible. It's not. You're not going to find any angels in politics.
I mean, but you know what, man? You're not gonna find any angels anywhere because we as people
Are imperfect.
are imperfect, and we as people can be horrible folk.
That is true. What bothers me about politics is people like to pretend that quote unquote their side is the good side. That there aren't
There's not a bad guy in it.
right. That there are no bad actors. Most of these people are bad actors in some sort, form, or fashion. That's just the way. It's the nature of the beast.
Okay, I'll let you. I'll run with that. Go. What you got, man?
I felt initially that it was just pandering
Who are
That
they
he-
pandering to?
to black people and women to choose Kamala Harris. But that's also I freely admit that when I initially heard it, that was my initial thought, and I didn't know much about Kamala Harris at the time. I think that if, in my opinion, I'm still conflicted because of Joe Biden's stance on gun ownership, his consistent praise of the Crime Act bill, I believe it was in 1994 that he did with Clinton, and all the fallout that has happened since then. It gives me pause, and it just kind of doesn't leave a very good taste in my mouth.
What kind of taste does it? I mean, was that the burp? Was that what you was doing? Just bringing up that?
No, it's just
Sound effects. No, and I was like, just to hear them, the little bit that I've heard of them so far, it seems to me that they're just pushing this. We got to replace Trump thing. And to me, if that's your platform, you're not going to beat Trump with that platform. I don't think,
Why not?
because nothing that Trump has ever done has ever mattered.
and it's nothing stuck to him.
Nothing has stuck to him. He stepped on the scene in the height of the Me Too movement, and they did not touch him. And he has been recorded on things he said. We knew it was things he said. He never denied the stuff that he said or some of the things he done. And no matter what anybody has said or brought against him, none of it really has stuck. It has never been enough to sway anybody enough to remove him from office, to stop him. And I'm just like, okay, so besides just trying to upseat Trump, what are you really going to do for the country? What's going to be your platform other than we got to get Trump out of office? And if that is what you lead with, and that's the thing you stay on, to me, you're just playing Trump's game, and you can't beat him at that game. Not like that.
All right.
So
where they at?
other than, okay, yeah, it'll be yet another historical mark. We'll now have the first black vice president in office. I mean, there's great things like that are about it, attached to it.
Let's go.
But I'm still kind of struggling, and I'm getting more into who Miss Harris is,
Okay.
so I can have a better understanding, a more informed understanding as to who she is and what is she standing for. I want to hear what she has to say.
Okay. So all right. So I'm keeping my opinion to myself in this
No,
conversation.
don't.
Why?
Uh-uh.
You started this, and you're not going to exert your opinion.
We're having a whole
Show's
new show.
over.
Are y'all watching the Democratic convention right now?
I have not. No, I'm talking to you.
Well, I mean, we can still tune in. Did y'all tune in yesterday?
No.
No, I did not get a chance to tune in yesterday.
All right. So all right, because this is common conversations and we can have this conversation.
Most
you know,
definitely.
if you're not tuning in to the Democratic convention, you're missing anything that they may be sharing that what they stand for. So to make an informed decision about who you're going to vote for, right? So if you're really not you, the proverbial you is really on the fence as it relates what Biden may stand for, what Harris may stand for. You know, the Democratic convention is happening right now, right? And you don't have to drive anywhere. You can simply tag into CNBC. You can go to the Democratic Party, the National Party, and click on, if you've got Apple TV, if you've got YouTube. So there's multiple platforms where you can tune in right now and start listening to what the Democrats are talking about. And B, you will have the opportunity to hear Biden as well as Harris. I think you also have to go out and look in the world of Google some shit. right? And learn about who Harris was as a prosecutor, who Harris is as a person, who Harris has been as a senator. And then, so there's a lot of opportunity to learn about who Harris is. Biden, yes. So here's the thing about Biden. Like, I'm not a fan of Biden, but I'm definitely supporting him for president, even if it's just to get rid of Trump. Because I believe that there's shit. Anything's better than the mother two yahoos, Dumb and Dumber, who's up there occupying the White House, right? I always thought Pence was going to be a bad vice president. I live in Indiana. I see how the LGBTQ community is treated. I see how he treats black and brown people in this state, both economically and socially. I knew it was a shitstorm when that degenerate became vice president. Period. So yeah, I at this point, I think a puppet, honest to God's truth, you could put Kermit the Frog in the White House and it'd be better than them two yahoos.
Hi ho,
Kermit
the Frog, the president here.
So now,
Yeah.
so I mean, if we really talking about, okay, so if we're really talking about Harris, she was a top, so yes, she prosecuted people. That was her job. Did she send black and brown people to jail? Yes, she also sent white people to jail.
I mean, she stood against the death penalty in California.
Absolutely.
She said she wasn't going to push for the death penalty for people who kill police officers, and that got her in some sticky situations. But ultimately, it panned out as she continued to progress through her years. I mean, she's done some really interesting and cool things. But I did look up some things.
Yeah.
Because after I read the initial article, I was like, okay, let me look at some other things that she's done. Because I have to honestly admit to myself, before I formulate a thorough, objective opinion, I need to be informed.
Sure.
And I need to know see as much as I can from her history. What is she really standing for?
And we have to give her room. We have to give her room to make a position, right? Or create a position. But here's the thing, she's going to work for us. Reach out to her. Have you called her? Have you called her? Have you called her, right? Have you written her a letter, right? So here's the thing, but like sometimes we get into this thing about politics, like, oh my God, these people running for office, but you don't ever call them. They work for us. They want to work. This is, running for office is one of the hardest job interviews anyone can ever possibly do. Yes, not only do you have to raise money to go talk to people to get their vote so that you can work for them. I want you to chew on that shit for a minute, right? Then you have people who hate you, who have never spoke to you. You have people who judge you who have never held a conversation with you. You have people who judge you based on a news byline and won't even really look you up. Right, chew on that shit for a minute, right? So I'm just saying, I wasn't a Harris fan because honestly, I only looked at her from one side. I looked at the prosecution side and was like, man, she was super harsh. But then my homeboy, so my man Dub, John and Big Mo, we have these conversations every morning. Like literally, we text each other like there's no tomorrow. Sometimes I have to take a break because my brain be like, oh my God, I can't read all this. But we literally are thumb warring all kind of conversations, right? And so my man, I don't know if it was Dub or Big Mo who sent me the bio information on Harris. And because again, I'm an Abrams fan. I love some Stacey Abrams. And she's got some real movements, and I think she can make some real change. But Harris is now our VP candidate. And so he sent me the bio on Harris, and I was like, yo, super dope. Because as I was reading the stuff that they were sending me, I learned, of course, Harris was raised by a single mom. Oh, snap. Guess what? We got something in common. Let's go. Right?
I'm in Canada.
She led her first protest, I believe, at 13 years old for housing based on the housing that she lived in. Top of her class when it comes to law school. Also in a sense of some of her prosecutions, what I realized that in reading some of the things, she was not harsh on marijuana in terms of usage, right? And she kicked out most cases that came to her docket. She wouldn't prosecute. However, the ones that she did prosecute found out that they had other extremes attached to it. It wasn't just weed, right? So, I mean, there's things like that you want to look at. You know, she led a whole bunch of other organizations and nonprofits. And so as I started reading more about her, I'm like, okay, you know, somebody pegged her as his top cop, and maybe it's a negative connotation because I got issues with police brutality. So people like me are sitting in this bus on the we need to change justice system. We need to reform the justice system. Here's somebody, yes, harsh. That's her job. Got to do her job. But I can also now look at, because of research and some of the things that I'm reading, has also begun to change the system from the inside. Right? She didn't get out here screaming and hollering like a lot of folks, including me. She got in the inside and made some adjustments. So you know what I mean? Harris, hands down, totally, eyes closed, butthole naked with a shirt over your head, running down the street about to hit a wall, far better than Pence. On her worst day, honestly, you know, byline by byline, you know, biography by biography, you know, resume to resume, my opinion, better than Pence, right? Better for the country as a whole. And you know what? Maybe the world's pandering because we need a woman in that seat. It's time, right? You know, white men have been at the helm since the concept of this country. They've been fucking it up for ages. Why shouldn't a woman have a chance? You know what? And she's got a far better record than fucking Hillary. And I'm a Democrat. Let's be clear about that. I'm a black Democrat, but that's different.
Wow.
You know,
Let that breathe.
And respect to Biden. Not a Biden fan. I think he's too old. I think he's made his mistakes. I think we have to hold him accountable for the mistakes. But as it relates to the crime laws and some of the things that he passed, there's a lot more people responsible than just him.
Most definitely.
You know, there was a whole lot of folks in this nation who were for that. They tripled down, quadrupled down on Reagan's platform, right? And carried it over. The Clintons, they are hella responsible for it.
Definitely.
Right? Yes, Biden owns his part. Now, can he change it? Is he going to change it? I don't know. You know, and these are the questions that we have to ask, but we also have to ask the heads of Congress. We got to ask our Senate. We got to ask our people at home, right? Because there are things that we, you know, politics is not just national.
Right.
True.
So, I mean, at least that's where I am. You know, I'm for Biden and Harris. Let's go. Let's get, you know, wags and tails out of office. Real talk. Yes, I'm super disrespectful. But that's the nature of the beast.
Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah, true story. You know what I mean? They had their rise, and nothing. I'm not gonna say anything negative about Trump. You know, there are some things he's done well. There's a lot he has not, and he's not the president for the country as a whole. And I'm a firm believer of that.
I agree with
you know, he's been a president for a select few.
That's obvious.
And we need people in office who are going to be leaders for all of us.
True.
Not just some of us. And I've said that for years. And him and Pence aren't those people. And then to be honest, there's a whole lot of folks that we've got elected, both at the state and local levels, who are not for the masses or the people. They're for select few. They're for a few bank checkbooks and a few basic bullshit ass agendas that basically continue. How do I say this in a nice way? Continue white supremacy. You can't say it in a nice way. So there it is.
And on that note,
I believe it's time for that outro. How does
dun, 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 dun.
So we leaving just that fast? We're done with the conversation?
You said 20 minutes.
It's been 20 minutes.
It's been almost 30.
That's our 20 minutes on
But that was needed though. That was needed.
I can only say that just in this brief conversation, you have further encouraged me to do that, to look deeper, to research more, to listen, to give her my attention, to find out what she really is about, because I really want to know.
Yeah, you got to look. Like, I mean, I'm not going to get on here and rant and rave about anybody who in their potential greatness or lack thereof. I am going to tell everybody, do your due diligence. We are intelligent people. I don't care how dumb you feel like or how dumb you think you are. You know, we are all very intelligent people, and it's not rocket science. Just Google.
Right.
You know, let's not be so caught up in this wave of Democrat and Republican that we don't make smart decisions with our voting power, right? Because voting is powerful, right? And when you choose not to vote, you're choosing not to use your power. You're choosing not to use your vote, your voice, right? When you choose to vote for the wrong person, that's still a choice, right? So for all the white listeners, if we got some, for all my redneck, potential racist listeners, because we got some, if you got biracial children and you care about them, don't vote for Trump. Because truly, he's not doing anything to better the country for those who are melanin rich. True story, right? But your vote for him is not a vote for everybody, and we got to make the smart decisions, right? So
most definitely.
Yeah, go out there and do the research, man. Right. So I'm definitely going to watch the RNC convention next week. I believe that's next week or whenever the hell that comes on. But, we got some debates coming up, too. Can't wait to see Biden debate with Trump. That shit's just going to be comedy.
Definitely.
That's going to be a good one.
Absolutely. You know what I mean?
And I think this should be as we keep going forward, this can just be an ongoing conversation, because I think as we move closer to the election, gonna be other things that we'll have to talk about on this topic. Most definitely.
And having homework will definitely help. So
God, you ain't gotta have no homework. Make it part of your life.
No, that's what I'm. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I got as an individual, I have to get started and do my due diligence and
Yeah. So all the politically astute people, y'all want to jump on the show? Let's do the next show. Y'all can come in and play with us. This show is about growth, resources, networking. Politics is nothing but networking, and the growth of our future. So on that note, once y'all got something to say, we can officially close this off. It's been an hour and 20 minutes. We love all of y'all who have tuned in with us on Facebook and on YouTube. And if you watch this later, make a comment. We don't really care if your comments are negative. We won't listen to them. But if you make a positive comment, check it out. We might respond. But we thank you. We love you. And we'll chop this up and throw it up on the podcast later on. And we couldn't be here without you. And let's go. Clear it out. Y'all listen to Lil Jam for us. All right. We're about to wrap it up, good people. Want to do this?
Power to the people. Dress in the nation. Power to the people. What's your situation? Power to the people. Dress in the nation. Power to the people. What's your situation? Power to the people. Dress in the nation. Power to the people. What's your situation? They got cops in my city, the crime increasing, them laying down the street, but the kids still bleeding, right wing, left wing. I just wanna fly, we looking overseas, but it's war up in the shot. Everybody want jobs, everybody laying off. They greeted out of learn, it ain't really paying off. Trying to do right just to get a legal check. Ain't know I graduate to spend my life up in debt. Better work for myself, pick me up a trade, staring at the homeless man. I'm one check away, barely turn the TV on. Ain't nobody doing right to make things worse. They want to take away our rights. Power for the dollar, greed to kill us all. Money for a war that can feed us all. In God we trust. They kill me with that saying, government, office, dominion, quit playing. Power to the people. Dress in the nation. Power to the people. What's your situation? Power to the people. Dress in the nation. Power to the people. What's your situation? Power to the people. Dress in the nation. Power to the people. What's your situation? new virus every year. Ain't nobody safe. U.S. a corporation, they just have to get paid. Too big to fail. Divide and to conquer. Send you off to war. Let you die with honors. They got us all distracted, chasing after money. American dream got us looking like a zombie. Not to mention all the lies covered up by crime. The wealth we possess came from genocide, terrorizing foreign land. All over game, bomb for control. You laugh at they pain, had a media make the